Good morning. It is March 25th, Wednesday, and I'm going to go over the answers from the assignment I gave yesterday on Tuesday. I hope everybody's doing well, and I know I've been kind of looking forward to this every day because it gives me some regularity. It makes me think about math, which makes my brain feel better. So, yeah, I really encourage everybody to continue to participate. And thank you to everybody who has been participating. I have been recording that. I have lots of you that have been doing it every day, so fantastic job. If this is your first day, that's fine. Just anything that we can do to stay connected and keep our brains moving forward is a good thing. So let's go over the answers to these problems from yesterday. Number one, it says, what is 526,431 subtracted from 1 million? I'm going to go ahead and do it algorithmically, but I did tell you that you could use a calculator, so that's fine if you did. So I'm going to do it using the algorithm. Let's set up 1 million. I write it correctly today. 1, 2, 3. Okay, those are commas. And I'm going to be subtracting 526,000. So that is 5, 2, 6, 431. So 431. All right, this is going to be a bit of a borrowing mess, but stay with me. Here, we're going to borrow from there. Put there, that becomes a 9. That becomes a 9. It's like a borrowing fest. There we go. Okay, so 10 take away 1 is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. 9 minus 4 is 5. Notice how we don't have to borrow now since everything's a 9. So 9 minus 6 is 3. 9 minus 2 is 7, and 9 minus 5 is 4. So your answer should be 473,569. Okay, looks good. Let me go ahead and get rid of all this. Probably a quicker method of doing this, but in Screencastify, I do not have an erase all, so bear with me. Okay, so number 2. What is the width of a rectangle with a length of 12 inches and an area of 444 square inches? Well, we know that if you take 12 times the width, which in this case is W, you get 444 square inches. Well, how do we figure out the value of W? Well, we do that by taking 444 and dividing it by 12. So we could set it up like this, possibly 444 divided by 12 equals W. Now I can do this algorithmically. Once again, you could have done this with a calculator, but just to keep you thinking about how to do the algorithm, I'm going to take 444 divided by 12. Okay, 12 goes into 4. Well, 0 times 12 goes into 44 3 times. So 3 times 12 is 36. Get a difference of 8. And I bring the 4 down, and I know that 12 goes into 84 exactly 7 times. So our answer is 37 inches. Excellent. Okay, let's keep moving. Lots of these problems are based on the same problems that were assigned the previous day, so I was hoping that you paid attention to the solution strategies, which would help with this one. Okay, so I am going to find the integer closest to negative 15 pi. Now, one question that I had a student ask is, well, is this negative 15 plus pi? Well, some of the fourth grade students haven't been taught this yet, but whenever you see an integer or a number next to a variable, it implies that you are multiplying. So what we're saying here is negative 15 times 3.14. And yesterday we talked about how if you take a negative number and you multiply it by a positive number, which is the case here, you get a negative answer. Okay? If you take a negative times a negative, negative times negative, it actually becomes a positive, but that's not the case here because pi is a positive number. And then finally, if you take a positive times a positive, of course, it stays positive. So let's keep that in mind. Okay, so just for the sake of going through the algorithm, I will do it algorithmically. I'm going to put the 3.14 at the top, okay? And I'm going to multiply by 15, but I'm going to just keep in mind that it is a negative 15. So 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 plus 2 is 7. 5 times 3 is 15. I'm going to start the next line with a 0 because I'm not multiplying by 1. I'm multiplying by 10. 1 times 4, 1 times 1, and 1 times 3 looks a lot like 3.14. And we are going to add those together and get... Okay, it is... Oh, I messed up. Let's see here. That's not right. I do make mistakes. I'm going to go back to my pen. This is 11. I'm going to carry the 1. 1 plus 5 plus 1 is 7. And this leaves me with a 4, not a 5. Okay, so this isn't my answer because obviously I didn't multiply by 314. I multiplied by 3.14. So what I'm going to need to do to adjust for that is I'm going to have to divide by 10 and by another 10. And we do that by moving our decimal point 2 places to the left, which makes it 47.1. But that's still not our answer because it was negative 15, which means that this is negative 47.1. And once again, the closest integer has to be a whole number, which means we're rounding to the nearest 1. We look next door, it's just a 1, which means your answer is negative 47. Fantastic to everybody who got that today. All right, moving on. Once again, this is way more enjoyable when I have you guys here with me asking questions and showing me different strategies and things to think about. But we'll be there again. Okay, on Monday, once again, we're dealing with negative numbers here. So on Monday, it was negative 27 degrees. That seems like it's really cold, and it is. And I used to live in Michigan, and this was actually a very realistic scenario, although it didn't always increase in temperature by the amount that we're talking about here. It stayed very cold all day. Okay, so on Monday morning, it was negative 27. Let's put negative 27 all the way over here on the number line. This number line extends both into negative integers and to positive integers, okay? So we're going to call this 0. So we are going to count up by 35 degrees. So when you count up 27, it gets you to 0, but I still have to count 8 more, which puts me at 8. That was by the afternoon. But then at night, as we know, oftentimes it gets a lot colder. So that temperature decreased by 17 degrees. So if we count back 7, that gets us back to 0, okay? But I need 10 more, okay? So if I count back 10 more, well, that doesn't make sense. Count back 8. Oh, sorry, it's not 18 degrees, it's 17 degrees. So if I count back 8, that would leave me with 9 more degrees. And then if I count back 9 more degrees, it leaves me with negative 9 degrees. Okay? These are tricky, and that's all right. And this is middle school math, but you know what? We can do it. And you guys will be rock stars when you get up there because the computation is not hard. It's just understanding the concepts. Okay, next. What is the 35th positive integer? Remember yesterday we had the 40th positive odd integer, which I said was, the formula was you take the number place, which was 40, and then you multiply that by 2 and you take away 1. But the thing with even integers is that you don't have to take away 1. So really all it is 35 times 2, which gives us 70. The 35th positive integer is 70. Excellent job to everybody who worked through that one. Okay. And we're going to go to number 6. Okay, number 6. Okay, so this one kind of confused a few of you, but if you look at it closely It's really not that hard. I think everybody in here is familiar with the rules of rock, paper, scissors. Rock and rock is a tie. Anything that's the same is always a tie. No one wins. Rock beats scissors. Rock is covered by paper. So let's go through and figure out. We're going to figure out how many matches did Kalyani win. So we're going to go through and circle just the boxes where we know that she won those matches. Now, if we look here, if she had rock and he had rock, then these were all ties. Okay? If he or she, Kalyani, could be either a boy or a girl, had paper and Mark had rock, well, they didn't win that one either because, actually, no, sorry. Paper beats rock. Paper covers rock. So actually, yes, we are going to circle this one because they won. So this one, they played scissors and Mark played rock, which means that they did not win that one. Okay. Rock and paper, no, Mark beat that one too. Paper and paper, well, that would be a tie. Okay, scissors and paper. Well, scissors beats paper, so those are all wins. Now, rock and scissors. Once again, rock beats scissors. Those are wins. Paper and scissors. Well, scissors beats paper, which means that they do not get those. And scissors, well, of course, those are all ties. So all we have to do is just add up the numbers. We had 24 wins in this box, then 21 wins, then 20 wins, and when we add those together, we get 65. So the answer would be 65 matches. Okay? All right, moving on. I know I'm covering these things quickly, but we cover them over and over and over again in the 2 years that you have me. So hopefully you'll see them many times throughout different kinds of examples. So let's go down to number 7. I love this problem. All right. Maria was born January 1st, 2000. Her mother was born on January 1st, 1975, and her father was born on January 1st, 1970. Pretty good coincidence that all of this family was born on January 1st. I'm not sure what the odds of that would be. It's very calculable. So, yeah. In what year was the sum of their ages 100? This is how I did it. You could have done it many different ways. You could have done it with a brute force method, but this is the way that I did it. I figured out how old her mom and her dad was when she was born. So her father, since he was born in 1970, her father would have been 30 when she was born. Okay? Now, her mother was born in 1975, which is the same year I was born. And she would have been 25, right? And we'll say in this equation that Maria is m years old, okay? Now, every year that Maria has a birthday, you're going to increase the value of, or the age of her father and her mother. So what you're going to do is you're going to add m for every year that she has a birthday. And we're going to add her mother's age plus Maria's age plus m. And I want to know what makes that equal 100. Okay, so I combine like terms. Once again, we say this a lot in algebra. I'm going to combine my integers. I have 30 and 25, which leaves me with 55. Now I have 1, 2, 3 m's. So I have plus 3 m's equals 100. Okay? Now, I get rid of this 55 on this side by subtracting 55. Sorry. Which means I have to take 55 away from this side to make it balanced, which makes this 45. Okay, so this leaves me with 3m equals 45. Now, what number times n is 45? Well, I figured that out by taking 45 divided by 3, and 45 divided by 3 is 15. Now, she would be 15 years old, but that's not the question. It says, in what year was the sum of their ages 100? Well, 15 years after January 1st, 2001, it would be 2015. Excellent job to all of those that persevered on that one. And moving on to the mystery science. We talked about this a few weeks back, and this is especially relevant to where we live because we do have a lot of hillsides that do slide and have caused damage. So it's particularly important for us to know about what causes landslides, what they are, and what to look for. So what is a landslide? Well, I have the key right here, so we can just go over it really quickly. Let me zoom in here. Okay, what are landslides? Well, landslides are just when rocks slide down a mountain, but that would be a very simple term or a very simple way of explaining this. So landslides are made of rocks and soil that slide down a slope, right? It doesn't ask what causes it because that is in the next question. What causes landslides? Well, landslides are caused by rain. A more sophisticated answer would be landslides can happen when there is a loose rock on a slope of more than 35 degrees. I love the fact that they did include an angle measurement of whenever a slope reaches a critical angle of 35 degrees or greater, it's more likely to slide. And it's most likely to slide when it rains. But there are other things that cause landslides. And in some cases, they are the result of earthquakes. So if you would have written earthquakes, that would also be a good response to shake those rocks off the hillsides. Sorry about my stylus. Okay, so that's it for number 2. The last one on the assignment is number 3. Imagine you're camping in a hilly area. How can you figure out if it's a safe place to camp? Well, a simplified version of that would be look to see if there's a lot of loose rock around. But it's not just a matter of loose rock. You need to be at the bottom of a slope that is greater than 35 degrees. And has it been raining? If it has been raining and it's greater than 35 degrees and you're near that slope, it's probably not a good place to camp. But if it's less than 35 degrees and it has not been raining, then your risk of being in a landslide is pretty low. So that's the answer for the 3 questions from Mystery Science. I will make an assignment again for today, Wednesday, that will be due again tomorrow at noon, 24 hours from the time that I give it. Once again, these are completely optional. It's for you to choose. It's to keep your brains busy. Today's assignment is going to be a little bit shorter. There are some challenging math problems and also a video we are going to watch on volcanoes in Mystery Science and answer some questions. I'm looking forward here soon, and this is a totally optional activity is that I got not Tinkercad, but Tinker subscriptions, which is a coding website, which I've always wanted, but it's just so expensive, but they've made it free for all the schools that are closed. So I have Tinker subscriptions for all of our students. One of the programming languages that I've always encouraged students to learn first is Python. Okay, so we are going to begin, if you choose, to begin taking on the Python 101. Python is a programming language that is very popular today. It's used by engineers, it's used by different software designers, and it is a very powerful language that's also a great place to start learning the semantics and syntax of coding. So I am hopefully going to be able to broadcast both a recorded and live session of Python, which it's not my first language in programming, but I have taken some courses in Python and I'm comfortable in explaining the basics to students. So keep an eye out for that. I know some of you are really drawn to that, so I look forward to it. So please email me any questions you have, and I look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. Thanks.